Gaming Today presents Cash Considerations.
Welcome to the Cash Considerations podcast. Today is Thursday, December 24th. It's Christmas Eve. I am Dave Sherapan at SportsBK Consig. I have the boys with me tonight. I have Carl Hascall at Carl Hascall. I have Reynolds. I am Reynolds 2305. And from Reading, PA, our special guest tonight is going to be Dan Neubert at Newbie Talks. We're going to get to him in 1 second. I just want to welcome all the listeners. The show is at GT Cash Consider, and please follow along. We wish all of you a Merry Christmas. We're going to have a format usual show tonight and some Christmas wishes at the end. Without further ado, let's get to our guy, Dan Neubert. Newbie, what's up, brother?
This is great, man. Nowhere I would rather be. I was just saying to the boys that we get to talk sports betting and, no offense, we get to get away from the families for a little bit. So this is nice being here, joining with you guys, because it's already the stretch is already on where the kids are yelling. Everybody, there's already wrapping paper everywhere. So this is a good little escape before the calm before the storm, if you will. But I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Absolutely. Great sweater for those of you that are watching the show on YouTube. Dan brought the A game with the sweater. I have the hat. Little lean back. I don't know if I can get it all in, but it's my hat. Carl's in his usual attire. He's all business. He's got his Bruin stuff on underneath. There it is. Hockey season is coming, we're going to get to that at a different times. Tonight it's about football. We may mention a little bit of basketball as well because we got a basketball guy on who may know a little something about basketball in Philly. So, Dan, you got to tell the people, man, this beard game is tremendous, too. For those of you not listening, you got to go watch it on YouTube. He's prime ready. It started as a November no-shave thing, and now it's just looking great. So where are you from, Dan?
So Reading, Pennsylvania, as you mentioned, a little bit outside of Philadelphia, but pretty much spent a lot of time here. Left a little bit when I went to college, Owings Mills, Maryland. But been here, do a radio show here called Talk It Out every weekday from 3 until 6, and you get to join me every now and then. We do a little something we call a look inside the book, but man, a perfect example of how social media isn't always awful is the fact that you and I hooked up, and you, I understand from your buddies here, are the master networker.
Yeah, I have been that way for a long, long time. I learned it from my dad, and I can't help it. I don't know any other way. Before we move on, I just want to mention you are the host of Talk It Out on WEEU 8:30 a.m. and the Not Another Dude Show, which is at Nads Pod, which is a great Twitter name, at Nads Pod, N-A-D-S Pod. You're a sports betting contributor at Pro Lacrosse Talk, and then something about some better than Vegas thing that I'm not even going to mention. We talked about that off the air. I don't know what's better than Vegas, but I mean, you can stick with that show or that name as long as you want. But how did you get involved with sports gambling, Dan?
I always just loved sports. I think a lot of sports bettors, they start exactly like that. They love the game. They love watching. And then as you kind of get older, you realize, hey, why am I just watching when I can get a little skin in the game? And I also think just looking at sports through the prism of sports betting is such a great learning opportunity. I feel like you understand so much more what's actually happening, not just in the game, but really the whole picture of the league. So since I've really been following, betting lines, trends, money lines, sure, it started in high school, but since I really ratcheted it up as I've gotten more into the professional world, I just feel like I have such a better holistic view of the leagues that I love, of the players I love, of the sports that I love. And I think there's no way to do that better than looking at it through the prism of sports betting, because these lines tell a number. And I think the more that you get into sports betting, you start learning that you're playing much more numbers than you're actually playing the teams that you love. So I just think that, the holistic view that it provides is why I got into sports betting. And when you end up winning a little money, that's a nice little icing on the top. But the holistic view and just learning about games that I love, I think it's just blown up exponentially since I've really gotten into sports betting. And same thing as you mentioned there with the pro lacrosse side of things. that's a sport that I grew up playing. That's a sport that I grew up loving. And when you finally were able to bet on it, I already had a leg up on some of the people who were maybe, floating out some of those stale lines because it was so new. There wasn't really people who were handicapping that. So a perfect example of a sport that I loved melding with something that I love doing now with sports betting, and the time couldn't be any better now with the PLL coming back and expanding and all that. So, yeah, I absolutely love it. Great question, though.
So do you think, because you're in the radio business, you see this thing kind of exploding, right? Have you had any resistance to we just communicated via DM on Twitter and then basically created a segment that's on every Thursday or Wednesday. We move it, this week for holidays, but like every Thursday we do a segment and it's straight sports gambling talk. I mean, we're talking about the teams, you guys air the Eagles games, you air the Penn State games, you air the Sixers games now. Did you find any resistance to it, or were they kind of welcome to you kind of bringing this to the audience?
I think just we as an industry, the sports betting industry is always going to be fighting that uphill battle because as we try and transition from being in the dark corners, the guy at the side of the bar into the front of the mainstream, I think you're always going to be fighting that stigma. You're always going to be fighting what it once was, but it's a major passion of mine of removing those stigmas and really understanding that, sure, what sports betting may have been, or maybe some people perceive it to be, as long as you're doing anything responsibly, it's not the most awful thing in the world. It's not something that's plaguing, society. And I just think that that's something that maybe there is that resistance, sure, and that's always going to be happening with what we do and what we love. But what we do and shows like this do is removing those stigmas and taking what was once in the dark, dingy corners into the light. And I think the more that we do that, the more that we have awesome shows like this, the more that we have segments like A Look Inside the Book, it's going to take those stigmas away. And then maybe 10, 15 years down the line, it's going to be the same. But I mean, think about the ease of just being able to bet on your phone and everything. Now you're already starting to see attitudes changing where people who never would have picked up a bet, never would have walked up to a counter to place a bet just because of maybe the anxieties around that, they can do it right from the comfort of their home. And I would argue that the more that becomes accessible, the more people who aren't bettors are going to be betting.
Right. And the more information they're going to want to seek, as well as, find shows that are, not so hardcore numbers-based talk. Like, you need to be entertainment, and you need to, wear sweaters like that, hats like this, and still talk about the games and have fun. So I'm in Vegas. Carl's in New Hampshire. You're in Reading, and Reynolds is here also in Vegas. But have you been to Las Vegas ever? Or do you have a Vegas gambling trip at all?
I have been to Vegas once, and it was when I was a sophomore in college, and it was before I was into all the sports betting and everything like that. I think I maybe played some penny slots with the girlfriend at the time. Definitely not the best idea. I just remember the Titanic multipliers going wild while Celine Dion was singing. Everybody was staring and whatnot. But no, I never had the true Vegas gambling trip. So that's something once hopefully life gets a little bit back to normal, we can make that happen.
Oh, yeah. And you got the right guys here to help you make that happen and make the experience maybe a little bit better than your first trip out. I
loved it. Don't get me wrong. I loved it, but I wouldn't describe it as the Vegas experience.
Right. How are the sports books in Pennsylvania? Have you been to any of the books near you, or so what's the books like there compared to what you have maybe in Vegas or in other places?
I mean, it's like going. Maybe this reference will be lost on some people. But Hershey Park is like a nearby amusement park for us. It's like Hershey Park is the books that we have, and you guys have Disney World. You know what I'm saying? It's just
okay.
It's similar, but it's just a little bit smaller. It's a little bit. It's just not the big bright lights. It's not all that. So I would say it's a similar experience, but not quite apples to oranges. But maybe oranges to clementines is the better way to say it.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, there's a plethora of apps now there, and you can pretty much fund everything. You can do everything from your phone there, right?
Yeah, and that's really the exclusive way that I sports bet. I mean, especially with everything that's going on, it kind of has become that more out of necessity. But I have, probably about 5 or 6 different apps on my phone, and that's another thing that I always caution people. And as shop around for the best number. If you have one book, you are not interested in long-term winning in sports betting whatsoever. I mean, I think that is one of the biggest things that you can get right up at the front. So I probably have, not going to name drop any of them, but
Right.
just multiple different apps, whether it's the national ones, whether it's ones that are just based off of casinos here. I love using my phone. You know what I'm saying? Your girlfriend's running late. The wife is running late. Oh, let me get a little action in. I love the ease of having it on your phone. So yeah, I use about 5 or 6 on a daily, up to hourly basis.
Yeah, that's the only way. I mean, really, it's the way to do it, especially if they're available to you, because checking lines and seeing maybe something that's somewhere that's not anywhere else, but let alone getting a better price on something, that's the key to, long-term winning. Your best sport to bet on, is it lacrosse, or are you a football guy, basketball guy? What is your single best sport if you were to single one out, like your best one success-wise and your favorite one to bet on?
It's football. It's football through and through, and it's a shame because the sharpest lines out there are NFL lines, so I'm not doing myself any favor because that's just what I love. I've always loved the NFL. I played football ever since I was in 2nd grade, so football is definitely my sport, NFL specifically, and that's really why I have to do these crazy deep dives, because finding NFL value is tough, and it really is a week-long proposition. I mean, as games are going on Sunday night, you have to be checking lines. You need to be noting down what those lines are, because by Monday morning, they've already moved. That little move can tell you a lot of stories. So I would say football is my favorite. Football is my best. I was very happy. My on-air record was 60% in the NFL last year, and that is not easy to do. Now, it's come back down to earth this year. Don't get overexcited, Dave, because as everybody in that NFL betting scene knows, if you have a 60% year, you better hold on and be excited, because next year may end up being a doozy. And it's not like I'm hemorrhaging this year, but it's definitely not anywhere near 60%. So hoping to maybe get off that snide a little bit. But I also think handicapping this year, especially the NFL, has just been so tough. And really Major League Baseball, NHL, any of them, just because everything was so different this year. You take the fans out of it, you're already your typical 3 points for home. Throw that out the window. You're giving teams half points for home, 1 point for home in some instances. Exactly, if any. So I think that this year has just been so tough for bettors, and you really had to throw out whatever your playbook was before, because a lot of the conventional wisdoms that we've been able to acquire over the years, just because the bigger the sample size, the better you're going to be able to extrapolate that information. 2020 is a sample size in and of itself that I don't think anybody ever wants to replicate.
I don't know if you can, actually. After this, I don't know anyone. Certainly no one wants to, but man, I don't know if you can. I don't know what this is going to lead to going forward. I just know, and I said it last week, we got to have that college basketball tournament. We got to have that college basketball tournament, one way or the other. I mean, the NBA and the NHL are going to carry us, but the March Madness is key to the lifeblood of a lot of sports books, and it has to stay that way. Speaking of basketball, Sixers, are they going to win the East or what? Carl's shaking his head no.
Yeah, as I see Carl shaking his head, I can't jump into that deep end quite yet. I'm just going to be happy about the fact that last night, or whenever you're listening to it's their first game, they end up going down. If that's Brett Brown's team, that team never comes back.
Done.
So I do think that at least is exciting, but I can't jump off the deep end and say East or bust, because I've been burnt too many times by Embiid and Ben Simmons not wanting to shoot. So I'm dipping the toe in the water. I'm not jumping off the deep end quite yet, especially with the Nets and Kevin Durant looking like he was ice skating around that floor. I can't dive off that deep end quite yet.
Okay. You got to tell people about the song, too. The Sixers song, apparently they brought it back from the 70s, and they play it at the end of the games. My man Norm in Philly, it brought it to me and my attention. He tweeted both of us, and you talked about it. What is the story with that song?
So I don't know what the origin is behind it. Let me see if you guys can get this at all. I'm not positive what the origin is behind it, but can you guys hear that at all?
Yeah.
So it's just like this old timey. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Sixers. I don't know where it started. I don't know who recorded it, but all I know is inject it into my veins because it makes me feel like Dr. J is back every single time I hear it.
It's the greatest. The words are so simple. Clap your hands, stomp your feet. He counts up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Sixers, and then counts it down 10, 9, 8, 76ers.
It's perfect, and they play it after, and it's something that I think they've long done. Anytime they win a game, they play it at the home court. So you'll see Embiid dancing to it as Embiid only can. But yeah, I love that, man. That anytime that song comes around, it's impossible not to tap your toes. Even though by the 100th time you've heard it, it's probably the last song you want to hear. But I love it every time.
Oh, I love it every time now too. I'm rooting for them to keep winning. Sorry, Carl. The Celtics days, it's not happening. It's hockey season in Boston. We can worry about that. We'll get to that in 1 second. But let's get to some football now, fellas. Like that's Dan Neubert. He's at Newbie Talks, Neuby Talks, TALKS. He's the host of Talk It Out on WEEU 8:30 a.m. and Not Another Dude Show at Nads Pod. I laugh every time I say it.
That's why it's there. That's why, and the guy who I do the show with, his name is Noel. So it works on many other levels. Not Another Dude Show, Noel and Dan Show. So it was natural going with the Nads Pod. So I'm glad you appreciate it.
That's strong, man. Sports betting contributor at Pro Lacrosse Talk. Man, you got to listen to that segment we do on Thursdays. That's caught fire. I got a lot of guys listening back east. You can find it, online. Dan puts it out every week on Twitter. So that's going to do it for the interview portion of the show. We're going to move on, and we're going to do the run and shoot 7+3, which is a late field goal for Christmas. We're going to do laying and taking. Then we're going to do take a minute and get out of here. So whenever you're listening to the show, hopefully – we can get you some winners for the NFL. I don't know. We'll see. The NFL has definitely gotten hard. Before we get to that, I just want to mention to be sure to sign up for the weekly Gaming Today newsletter, which highlights the latest stories from the sports betting and casino industry world. All you have to do is put your email address in the box on the gamingtoday.com homepage. Absent from tonight's show at Gaming Today News, Howard Barish, the managing editor of Gaming Today. At He These Takes, Matoy Pearson just finished celebrating Hanukkah. He's working on his Hebrew. He's doing really well with that. At Percent Berg is busy setting everything up for Win Interactive. He's not on the show, but he is still on Twitter. And the show is at GT Cash Consider. Carl's running the show. I mean, he's doing pools. He's getting people of interest, feedback, teasers. You're doing tease tweets, Carl? Like, really? You're all over it.
Yeah, a little bit here and there. Yeah, whatever works, right?
Yeah, well, 220, 221, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, exactly.
There you go. That's Carl Hascall. He's at Carl Hascall, which is Hascall. For those of you that don't know, you should know. He's now the co-host, the social media manager, and a coordinating producer of the Cash Considerations podcast. Reynolds still here, making sure everything sounds good at I am Reynolds 2305. And that is Dan Neubert. Here we go, fellas. We're going to start off with the Christmas Day game. It's the Vikings at the Saints. Saints are 7. That thing's ticking down to 6.5. 50.5, 51's the total. The original total was 52. The Saints are 10-4, 7-7 though against the spread. 6-8 both against the spread and straight up for the Vikings. Vikings are still quote unquote in the hunt, but they're not. They're not a playoff team. The Saints are, and the Saints are playing for the number 1 seed. Drew Brees looks 50. He looks like the total in the game, 50. I don't know. Dan, let's start off with you. Do you have a side or a total in this game?
I'm looking at the under, and that's mainly just because I think the Vikings had such a dream crusher last week. I mean, when you're making Mitch Trubisky look like he did when he was
Montana.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Even better than when he looked at a rookie. That's tough sledding. And it's wild because what the Vikings used to hang their hat on with Zimmer was the defense and what they were able to pressure and, the back end and everything like that. I just think the Vikings might just have little to no interest playing this game because, like you said, sure, they're in the playoff hunt. Yeah. I don't see it happening. And the thing is too with the Saints, you said Drew Brees looks 50. Drew Brees looks like a guy who had a dropped lung and broken ribs is what he ends up looking like. I don't understand what the need was to rush him back. Sure, I'm not crazy high on Taysom Hill, but they were winning games. It was the same thing with Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater came in last year, and he was a covering machine, beating people outright. So I didn't understand what the need was to rush back Drew Brees when you kind of knew you had a playoff spot locked up. And also, I just think the motivation, who wants to be playing a 4 o'clock game on Christmas? So there's a couple other reasons that I'm looking at the under in this game, and I understand it took that tick down. Obviously, I would like it much better at 52, but still at 50.5, I just think you could be seeing like a 16-13 game, teams that are disinterested in being out there, just 3 and out after 3 and out. And, maybe I'm wrong just because when it is in New Orleans, sometimes those video game numbers happen. But I think on a Christmas Day game, you might be getting a little bit of a free roll, and there's not many sample sizes that you can look at for either of these teams to really decide where the edge is. I lean with the Saints at that number, but I think the better play for me would be the under.
Carl, agree, disagree here?
Yeah, I agree, except I think based on what Trubisky looked like last week, I think Breeze gets a week here to figure out how to play football again. If Trubisky can look like Joe Montana, then I think a 50-year-old Drew Brees can look pretty good against that same team. So I'm waiting for this to get under 7. If it gets to 6.5, I'll probably grab it because I think New Orleans has a little incentive. Like you said, they got a shot at the number 1. They're probably going to land at the 2 seed. But this would probably lock up the 2 seed with a win at least. So I'm looking at New Orleans here.
Yep. I have no interest in taking the Vikings. I really wouldn't bet the game, use it in a contest or anything like that. But if I did, I would lean Saints as well. I hope it's not a 16-13 ugly game like that, Dan. But let's hope for some more scoring on Christmas. But we'll see. I agree. There might be some motivation issues on Christmas Day, trying to coordinate going to the stadium and playing after the kids all, find Santa and all the gifts. All right, here's the 3. Here's the late field goal. It's the Saturday menu of games. We're just going to go right down in order. Tampa Bay at Detroit. Tampa Bay is now 9.5. The total is up to 54. Tampa Bay is 9-5, but only 7-7 against the number. Lions are 5-9, 6-8 against the number, and they stink. This is the game that's circled on my thing here for the teaser number 1 game for everybody. It's going to start off the menu, tease the Buccaneers down. I don't think anyone's teasing the Lions up, and I'm not saying that you're not going to get there with that. But what do you feel better about if you're going to do a tease? You're going to take the Buccaneers down. I don't think they're going to lose the game, but 54 seems high. And now for me. So I'll just say I lean under, which I may need my head examined, taking under in the Lions game. But, Carl, I'll go to you first. Anything for you here?
Yeah, I'm high on Tampa Bay in terms of winning games. Okay, I don't know. 9.5 is a big number. I think they can cover 9.5 against Detroit. Tampa Bay has played 9 bad teams, and they've lost to one of them.
Yeah.
I said it last week. They squeaked out the win last week with the big comeback in the second half. They didn't cover the number, but they came back and won. I don't think they're looking to come back against Detroit. I think this game's over early, and the only thing I'd be worried about is Detroit scoring a touchdown in the final 2 minutes to screw me on the 9.5. But I like Tampa Bay. And the other thing here, too, with Tampa Bay, they can lock up the number 5 seed. They're probably not going to win the division. They're going to lock up the number 5 seed, and that's a great spot to be because they're going to play the NFC East winner. And that's a great spot to be in. So that gives Brady a bye in the first round of the playoffs.
Speaking of which, did you feel good watching him come back against Atlanta? Did it bring back any memories last week?
Yeah. Man, do we miss him. I can't even tell you. It's so much fun to watch him. No matter – he's going to be 50 like Drew Brees, and he's still going to be pulling off these games like that.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I was like, oh, my God, this is happening again. The Falcons are going to blow this game to Tom Brady again. Dan, you got a side or a total on this one?
Yeah, I think Carl laying out a lot of great points there. I also don't know with the tees how much value you're really going to be getting, because either the Buccaneers are going to blow them out or the Lions are going to get an early lead and the Buccaneers will come back. And I don't know if, teasing down to 4.5 is really going to get you all that value. Even if it is at 9, you're getting it to 3.5. So I think it would either be a Bucks or pass spot here. Also, the Lions, too, are also no good. You're going to be without Kenny Golladay. Stafford's been limited all week, and you have 3 linemen that are out. The guy who got his throat broken, Ragnow, Crosby, one of their tackles, and one of my favorite names to say from the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl team, Halapoulivaati Vaitai, also looking like he's going to be.
Say that shit again. Say that shit again.
Halapoulivaati Vaitai. When you cover the Eagles with our station, you have to have that ready to pull. And anytime that you get to show off your pronunciation on Vaitai, you have to hit that thing. But I was glad to see him on the injury report, hoping he's good. But I got to say his name at least. They have a lot of injuries, and they already probably aren't going to be all that motivated in this game. I mean, what are the Lions playing for? They're playing for a draft pick. So I think it would be a Buccaneers or pass spot for me. And honestly, I think there's some better value on some teasers there. I would just stay away from this game, because if the Buccaneers are going to win, they're probably going to cover that number, or it'll be a closer game. But I don't think anybody would be looking towards the Lions, nor should they.
Right. Reynolds, have you ever heard of a broken throat? I've never heard of the guy has a broken throat. How do you break your throat? Have you ever heard of that?
I mean, I've heard of numerous throat injuries. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Charles Oliveira in a fight against Max Holloway had some weird thing with his esophageal tear.
Esophageal tear.
Yeah,
we're doing all the pronunciations today. I'm loving
what shit is going on. My goodness, this is really good shit here. Wow,
Yeah, stepping it up here tonight.
I never heard of a broken throat in my life, but I saw that on a thing. I'm like, how do you break your throat? Where's the bone in there? But I don't know. I figured you might know. It might have happened in some fight somewhere. The second game, Saturday, the Niners play Arizona. In Arizona, where the Niners have been playing, so they are there. It's not really a away game, home game. I don't know. All I know is the line is Arizona -5. It opened 4. It's 48.5. Arizona won an unbelievable game against the Birds last week. That was so much fun to watch, and I really wanted the Eagles to win that thing so bad because they'd be so live for the division, but they could not get it done. 8-6, 7-7 against the number. The Niners are 5-9 against the spread and straight up. I will go to you first, Dan, before I give my little take on it. Side total, anything here for you?
I mean, when I'm looking at this game, the Niners have not really figured it out in Arizona. And I think, put in the fact of just what a strange year it's been, and then this giant question mark that they don't even get to live at their homes. You know what I mean? You leave your family, and a lot of people, they, especially in our industry, when you're talking sports betting, you reduce things to numbers and kind of take the human element out of it. Just think the mental aspect of already what has been such a tough and trying year, and then the Niners don't even get to be at home. They're not going to be at home for the holidays. They're going to be prepping up for a game against Arizona. So I just think you can't handicap this game without thinking of the human element of, how into this are the 49ers. Now, one thing that does get me excited about the 49ers is the fact that George Kittle is going to be back. So I think that
is that enough to take them? Like, would you
no. I
Okay.
don't think that's enough to make me take them, but
Okay.
it is enough to make me look at an over maybe in this game, because if Mullins is able to get the ball to Kittle, that offense, and they could move the ball against the Cowboys. Sure, the Cowboys' defense isn't anything to write home about, but neither is the Cardinals. So
Right.
I think if I was looking at anything in this game, it would probably be the over. And on my screen here in Pennsylvania, I'm even seeing some 47. So at 47, I would definitely like to fire on that over. At 49, it's a little bit more of a lean. Also worth noting that San Francisco, or Arizona rather, if you're looking to play that side, they are at home, and it's a small sample size, only 2-4 against the spread in the 2 years that Kyler Murray has been the quarterback as a home favorite. So it's not a role that they play very much, so that could be something. But I think anything for me in this game, it would be the over, especially if you're able to get it like what we are at Pennsylvania around a 47. I think that's a fair play.
It's a good case. I think you may have sold me. Over seems to be more of a play for me than a side in this game. I just don't know what I'm going to get from San Francisco. Carl, anything here for you in this game?
Yeah, I think this comes down to how well Murray plays. I mean, he played really well last week. He's got to play. Doesn't even have to play as well as he played last week, and he can beat San Francisco by 5 points. San Francisco's lost 6 out of their last 7 by 8 or more points.
Ooh.
That's a lot of points. Spread here is only 5. Kyler has a decent game. They win this game by more than 5 points.
There you go. I did a podcast called the Sports Gambling Podcast with a guy named Sean Green and a guy named Ryan Kramer, and there's a great contest. It's called Thrive Fantasy. You guys should go in and look at it. There's $25 entry, and it was prop bets for the Saturday games. There was a prop bet that will Mullins throw an interception. Would you guys bet yes or no?
I would bet an emphatic hell yes. Yeah.
Okay. Carl, you too?
I think regardless of who the quarterback is, it's a hell of a lot easier to throw one interception than to not throw an interception.
Okay. All right. I said the same thing. I was just curious what you guys thought. All right. Last game Saturday is game of interest here in Vegas. The Dolphins come to Las Vegas and play the Raiders. I'll just give you this. You couldn't give me I don't know what number I would need to get interested in taking the Raiders. It's only 3. I feel like, I'm missing something. I don't know. I think the Dolphins are really good, like as far as winning games. I don't know they're going to blow anybody out, but they have a really good defense. And Tua is doing what he's been asked to do, which is take care of the football, move the chains, let's run the ball. We don't need you to throw for 300. We just need you to not turn it over and continue, moving the chains up the field. We'll run it in. We'll kick field goals if we have to, and we'll keep the other team below 20 points. Get us to 20, and we're good. The total's 47.5. A lot of sharp guys I know are on the under. I don't know why. It's the Raiders. This is a team that can't stop anybody. They're bottom 3 in the league in defense. I like Miami. They're 9-5. They're 11-3, a league best, NFL best, 11-3 against the number. That is tremendous. Like there's the all-time best, I think, is 12-4 or 13-3. They're on their way. I mean, they can actually achieve that. It's Dolphins or nothing for me. Dan, what do you think?
I'm passing this game. I'm just going to watch it. I think you mentioned it's a game of note in Las Vegas. It's also a game of note for any Hawaiian viewer. I mean, to have Tua going up against Mariota, I think that could be something interesting. But, yeah, what happened to the Raiders, man? I mean, the wheels just fell off of that train that seemed like it was rolling there for a little bit. So it's a shame, definitely. It'll be interesting to see. But, really, yeah, just passing this game. One thing that I'm just wondering what you guys think, Brian Flores, he's got to have a good shot at Coach of the Year, right?
He is the lowest odds of all the coaches. I just saw it today at Circa. They re-put it up, and he's the favorite. He's the number 1 choice. Stefanski's number 3, and the guy in Buffalo is number 2. So those are the 3, and their odds are really low compared to the rest. So if you want to take a shot, I mean, like Tomlin's already 20-1. A lot of guys, everyone else is double digits. So those 3 are the favorites. And I really don't know who else it could be other than those 3. They're all going to make the playoffs ideally, and big improvements from last year. Maybe not, Buffalo's a big number, but, they made the playoffs last year. But the other 2 have been amazing. Carl, you got a side or a total before we move to Sunday?
Yeah, so 2 is 6-1, but he's played against a lot of shitty teams. But the good news is Vegas is a pretty shitty team.
Yes.
You never know what you're going to get. They can beat the Chiefs. They beat the Chiefs earlier in the year. They haven't done shit since then. I feel like, Dan just said the wheels falling off. I feel like this is a game that could be close, and then something's going to break against the Raiders, and they're just going to be like, you know what? We're done for the year, and this game's going to turn into a rout. So I love Miami in this game.
All right, I'm with you. All right, let's move to Sunday. We got 6 left. This is Falcons at Chiefs. Chiefs are 10.5-point favorites. My goodness, 13-1. Still only 7-7 against the number, fellas. They pushed, somehow found that game to 3 last week. So if you got 2.5, they covered, but it fell 3. The Falcons are 4-10 and a complete disaster. 6-8 against the number. Gave that game away to the Patriots again. I don't know. Matt Ryan has to see this guy in his sleep. My man Brian Wade, he's the number 1 Chiefs fan that I know. A guy I know here in Vegas. I just ran into him today in my escapades around town. He told me the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. He said it last year, and he was right. He said it again. Well, how are the Chiefs not going to win the Super Bowl? I don't know. I'm not sure yet. As long as Mahomes is healthy, he's winning the Super Bowl. That's where I stand. 10.5, though, in a non-conference game, yes, they're still playing for the 1 seed, but yikes, I can't advocate Falcons here. It's complete pass for me. Carl, side total, anything?
Yeah, I would probably pass. The only thing I'd say that goes Atlanta's way here is if Atlanta gets out to a lead like they have several times this year, Kansas City's going to have no interest in really putting a huge effort into coming back into this game. What do they have to play for? It's going to be the number 1 seed. They're going to be playing in Tampa in February. I don't know what the motivation's really going to be for them to, put in a huge effort in the second half of this game. So if I was going to go anyway, I'd go Atlanta.
If they get down, they're an in-game betting dream. They've actually paid off a bunch of weeks now for me in-game when they're down. Dan, side total, anything here?
No, I think Carl hit it perfectly. I mean, if you're looking at this game, the question is, what is the motivation for the Chiefs to be laying doubles and covering those doubles? And I just don't think it's there. They've been able to sleepwalk through the whole entire season. I don't see why this game is any different. Total's a little high for me. I think maybe I lean to an over, but at 54, I think you can find some better value elsewhere. I still just don't understand how people just continue to play the Falcons. I get that they've covered, but every week it seems like closing line always goes the way of the Falcons, and I don't understand it. I have not been a play on them this year. They have just been a darling by the sharp bettors.
Yes.
I don't understand it. But yeah, this is a pass game for me. I don't get laying doubles. I don't see where the motivation. Carl hit it perfectly.
All right, number 5 on the list from least to beast. We go to Monday night. This game used to have meaning. This game used to have real implications in the playoffs. The only thing this has to happen for implications in the playoffs is for one of the teams, and it's not the Patriots. Are you kidding me? The Bills are -7 at New England. I don't know if they were ever -7 with Jim Kelly back in the day at New England. The total's 46 and going up. The Bills are 11-3, fellas, 9-5 against the number. Patriots are 6-8. The season's over. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do for next season, when a Cam's going to come back or what. I got Carl sitting up there in New Hampshire. Listen, tell me what are the Patriots going to do this week?
Same thing they've done all year, Dave. They're gonna run the ball a lot. They're gonna look really bad throwing the ball, and they're gonna get their asses kicked. It's gonna be ugly. I really think they're gonna get their asses kicked this week. This could be a 3-touchdown game. It really could. It really could.
Okay.
I don't like the Patriots played horribly. I've said it every week I've been on the show that Buffalo's a Hail Murray away from X number of game winning streak. They could be winning 8 in a row right now going into New England, playing against a lousy team. Buffalo's won their last 4 games by double digits. There's no reason to think that they're not going to do it again this week. Man, I wish this game was last year, but it's not. Because a Week 16 game against Buffalo with the playoffs on the line would have been a lot of fun. This year, I probably won't even watch. I'll watch till somebody scores that first touchdown, and that'll be it. I'll be going.
That'll be it. Yep, the first touchdown prop. Dan, any reason to take New England here, or this is a run out?
No, it's pretty wild, the fact that we have Carl, a big Boston sports fan, me, a big Philly sports fan, but we're pretty much simpatico on how we're seeing these games. So it's, I guess, iron sharpens iron. I don't know. I think in this game, when you're always trying to look for the added motivation, the little edges, isn't this Buffalo's chance to do to New England what they've done to them for decades? I mean, for a decade.
Yes.
So I think that is a major motivation factor. I love the Bills in a tease here, but I also think you could even maybe if you're really getting frisky, maybe you get an extra gift card or something for Christmas. You might even look at a pleaser, because I'm with you. I think the Bills are going to look to pour this on, and I don't see why they wouldn't be able to. The Patriots defense hasn't been what they were. I think those players that opted out really hurt them. But I will say, Carl, we have to hook up, because we have to figure out a way we can get Carson Wentz to up there in New England.
I'll take it.
I want the Eagles fans to pay, because I'm a Wentzer. I've loved Wentz. I hate how this city is soured on him. I would love nothing more, and I might lose my Philly sports card for this. Seeing him with Bill Belichick, I would be so happy that I could say I told you so to all these Eagles fans that have lost their mind, Carl. So I'm with you. I'm with you on this one.
They could start they could start making the rings now for next year if they could
agreed.
do that. They do that. They get Chung and Hightower back on defense next year. It's all over. Everybody else is playing for second place, and everything's right in the universe again.
Yeah, Mahomes' domination ends if Bill Belichick and Carson Wentz come together. Forget about it.
I don't even know what to fucking say right now. I don't even want to think about this.
Just to go back to the Buffalo thing again for 1 second, too. I don't know if this made it nationally or if it's just local, but the Bills, I don't know if it was the organization or some fan club or whatever, took an advertisement on a billboard outside of Foxborough Stadium that says Buffalo Bills AFC East champions. It's right outside the stadium. Oh, yeah. It's ugly. It's ugly. There's gonna be some payback for that down the road.
Oh my goodness! Well, it ain't gonna be this week on Monday night. This is the payback for this week on Monday night is for Bruce Smith, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, Jim Kelly, Bills Mafia. I can't wait to watch the game because I think it's the celebration for the Bills to win the division and just set up the loss to the Jets next week that's coming for this Patriots team? No, it's not happening. Look at headline. No,
not anymore. Not anymore. Thanks to the Rams.
God damn it.
Well, we can talk about that. I mean, if Belichick was smart, he'd do all he could to get the number 1 pick away from the Jets. Take away any of the possibilities.
True.
Tank it all, right?
Just send an all blitz. Just do the 6 million blitz. That's all.
There you go.
You gotta do.
Number 4 on the list, we got to talk about the Patriots. Let's go right to Dan's neck of the woods. The Eagles -2 at Dallas. This open 1.5. The Eagles are 4-9-1 on the season, 5-9 against the number. The Cowboys are 5-9, but 4-10 against the number. This is a shit game with shit teams. What it looks like. But the winner is still alive for the division. Incomprehensible at these records that this could happen. Again, my guy Norm's listening to the show. He is a diehard Eagles fan. He is also a Wentzer. He just can't accept what Jalen's doing. I love Jalen. I love what he's doing. He changed the whole sideline. He changed the whole thing. He may have saved some jobs so far, what he's doing. I'm a little nervous for this one following what happened in Arizona. But what I saw, this Eagles play for me is good up to 3. I think the Eagles win this game. The total's 49.5. I don't know how this one's going to play out. I think over is where I would lean. But I'm going to save Dan for last because he's the Philly guy. Carl, Eagles, Cowboys, anything.
Yeah, so you're messing me up by having Dan go last because my notes, usually once a week I hold up my show notes right here so that I can prove it. And you really probably can't see it, but I say Hurts is greater than Dalton or agree with whatever Dan says on this game. So
let's go right to the guy right now, Dan. What do you got on this one?
I mean, I think you laid it out well. I think the Eagles are going to win this football game, and feeling this confident in Dallas week has me a little bit scared. One thing I will say, going back to the whole Jalen Hurts thing, I opened up my show on Monday today, laying out Jalen Hurts' stat line in his first 2 games and comparing it to Bobby Hoying's stat line in his first 2 games. And sure, the rushing numbers aren't there, but Bobby
Hoying,
900 some yards in Hoying's first 3 games, about 6 touchdowns. So I'm just telling people, pump the brakes a little bit on Jalen Hurts. I know that Eagles fans love diving off the deep end and everything. I do respect what he's doing. I love the fact that this team looks like a whole different football team with him 100%. I mean, it's been unwatchable this whole entire year. I'm just glad this week you're not going to be seeing Ben DiNucci versus Carson Wentz. That was maybe the worst primetime game of ever, of a long time. Yeah, absolutely horrible. So as far as this game goes, though, Cowboys are missing 3 offensive linemen, and their offensive line has been banged up all year long. You can say what you want. Joe Philbin, sure, he's done a decent job. Still, it's a bad football team. You're putting lipstick on a pig there. Eagles' pass rush has been getting better. Now, they do lose a guy in Josh Sweat, who's really been some lifeblood for him, but Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, even in this awful year, got a Pro Bowl nod. I think that's going to add a little bit of spark under them, and I also think this Cowboys defense that's bad, it gets much worse because Leighton Vander Esch is now not going to be playing in this game. So who's going to be stopping the option run? And if you look at the teams that the Cowboys have gotten rolled up on, it's been option teams. Look at what the Ravens were able to do to them.
Right.
So I think they're going to be running all over the Philadelphia Eagles will on this defense. But then on the other side of the ball, sure, the Eagles might be able to get a pass rush with the offensive line, but Dalton's been getting the ball out quick. And this wide receiving core, even with Darius Slay, is going to match up a lot better. So actually my favorite play in this game is going over. Number I have it at is 49.5. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored, but I would even think of putting a parlay. And I'm not crazy on playing parlays, but if your book does let you do any of the correlated kind of stuff, a lot of them don't, especially the national ones. Eagles 2.5 over 49.5, I think is both of those are great plays there. And you're getting it under the key number of 3-2. I think the Eagles could win this game by 10 or more points. I think it's at least a touchdown. If they get news on the sideline, fourth quarter, since the game's starting at 4:05 for the Panthers in Washington, if they get news on the sideline that Washington lost, you're going to see this score just start flying.
Are they eliminated if Washington wins?
Yeah, if Washington wins, they're done.
Oh, that changes everything. If Washington wins, you got to get off the bet. You got to win. You can't bet this game until you know what Washington does.
And that's why I think the over is the best play, because the games are going on concurrently. So the motivation is going to be there. It's not like the game happens at 1 o'clock. What does this game matter? So that's why I think the over is the best play, just because of the matchups for these offenses against the defenses, though I still would lean with the Eagles just because it's not a high number at 2.5. I think, even if they do get that news on the sideline, they still win the game by a field goal.
All right. Let's keep going here. We got 3 games left in the NFL before we get to laying or taking, so let's be quick. We got the Colts at the Steelers. We know why this was on the list. Listen, I've been wearing the Steelers shit for weeks. I put it away a little bit because, I just got to change it up. I mean, today's Christmas. I got to go back to the Christmas hat. Listen, I know they stink. I know that I don't know if they're going to win another goddamn game. I'm going to be perfectly honest. They're not winning this week. This one's simple for me. Colts, lay it up to 3. The Colts are going to run the ball. The Steelers aren't going to score. They can't run the ball. Seems like a mismatch. The look-ahead line was wrong. It was 2.5 Pittsburgh. It's now 1.5 Colts. I don't see it any other way. Philly guy, give me some Colts, Steelers, quick. What do you got?
Quick, all I have for you, this is as you said, they either win this game or they don't win a game the whole rest of the year. This is a quintessential Tomlin motivation spot, I will say.
I know.
42 and 32 against the spread since Tomlin was hired following a loss are the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're 11-3-2 as a home underdog against the spread as well under Tomlin. I'm sorry, Dave. I like the Steelers this week. I like the Steelers. I bet the Steelers. I'm going against all of America, every sharp, every square, every circle. I like the Steelers this week.
Carl, agree, disagree?
Yeah, disagree. Pittsburgh, they've got to prove to me that they can still play. They really do. They've had a chance to get right a couple of times here, and it's just not happening. I don't know what's going on with Ben's elbow. He can't throw the ball. And so, first of all, I like the under in this game. A couple of pretty decent defenses here.
44.
Number's only 44, I think.
Yep.
So I like the under here, but I'm going Indy, and Pittsburgh's going to show it's going to be, as much as I hate Cleveland, I might as well just take them now next week too, because I don't think Pittsburgh's winning another game.
Kill me now. My God, this is brutal. No, Dan's right. Like everything indicates sharp guys are going to be on the Steelers. That's the right play. This is the game that he wins. And after Monday night losing to the Bengals, an absurd line, Ben looked like he was 50. My God, he can't even make a deep throw anymore. They're not even trying. They can't run the ball. I don't know who's playing running back. Watch the Steelers win by 10. Fool everybody. Number 2 on the list, Sunday night, Titans-Packers. Packers minus 3.5 against Derrick Henry, this massive human being that just throws grown-ass men to the ground as he runs the ball. quick one for me. It's pretty simple. I mean, Titans are 10-4. The Packers are 11-3. This is going to be a battle. I feel like it's a field goal game. I would take the points. I don't think I'll even touch it, but if I have to take a side right now on the show, it's Titans. Carl, agree, disagree, anything?
Yeah, I like over here, first of all, too.
Okay.
Two great offenses against some okay defenses. I think they're going to score a lot of points in this game. And I think, like you said, Dave, close game, take the points. I think Tennessee's going to – they could win this game outright, but I think they definitely stay within a field goal.
Dan, what do you got?
Yeah, just real quick, maybe tease the Titans up is something that I'm looking at doing. Packers, they really struggle to get margin on everybody. Not a play that I'm crazy about, not a play that I love, but it could be something to look at. I think if you are doing anything over, and here in Pennsylvania, we actually still have, we still have a 54 still up here on the board. So that's the benefit of not being in the bright lights of Vegas. So I think the over is the play. Maybe a tease on the Titans, but I'm just looking forward to watching this football game.
Yeah, this is one that definitely you want to watch. I think it's going to be good from a fan standpoint. Man, it pays to shop the lines. You got some slow-moving numbers out there in PA, which is good when you're looking to play over, because I'm looking at like solid 56, 55.5 pretty much everywhere. So it's good. Last game on the list for the Run and Shoot 7, the Rams play the Seahawks for all of it. This is for the NFC West. Seahawks are 10-4, only 7-7 against the number. The Rams are 9-5 now, thanks to losing to the Jets. They lost the game outright to the New York Jets. Their first win of the season. Their first win in like a year. I can't remember the last time they won a game. 17-point dogs. 17-point favorites the Rams were and lost. Now they're 8-6 against the number. I'll go last. Dan, kick us off with this one. What do you got?
I don't have much in this game. I maybe lean towards the Rams for the same kind of reason that I kind of lean and like the Steelers. And that's just because whenever there's this big, embarrassing loss nationally, I always like just going the opposite side the next week, that whole zigzag effect that people talk about. So it's a lean to the Rams, but that's about it. I think you're going to have a good football game here with two teams that know each other. I give McVay maybe the little bit of a schematic edge just because the Seahawks defense, while it's getting healthier, it's not the Legion of Boom. I lean Rams. Other than that, just another game that I'm kind of looking forward to watching.
Carl, it's on number one on the list. Give me something.
Yeah, so I think the Rams have a slight edge when they run the ball. They have a slight edge when they pass the ball. I think the Rams have a slight edge when Seattle runs and when Seattle passes. They have a slight edge all over the place. Take that, add it to a 1.5 point underdog. I'll take the points, and I think the Rams can probably win this one outright, especially after being humiliated last week and saving the Patriots from having to play that game next week and possibly be the one win for the Jets. So I think the Rams have to come back this week, and I like them a lot.
Fantastic. We are in 100% consensus agreement, which means Seattle's probably going to win by fucking 10. Like this one, I don't see it any other way. If you don't, as a professional, come out with your best performance after what may have been your worst performance against the Jets for everything. I mean, the game is for the division, for everything. I fully expect to get the Rams' defensive best game of the season. And Goff to not fuck it up. Like, that's all you have to do in this game. They're not going to be able to move the ball and put up 35. Just get us to 24 and don't turn the ball over more than once. I think the Rams win the game. All right, that's going to do it for the Run and Shoot 7. Let's get to some laying and taking, which last week, JD, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, joined us on the show. He went 7-2. He's like, I don't know nothing about college football, but I'll do it. He went 7-2. I went 5-4. Carl went 4-5. That's pretty much par for the course. And Howard joined us. He went 2-7 and gave out a total on the show, which was laying or taking. I didn't know how to grade it, so he graded an L. I mean, it's laying or taking. All you have to do is say laying or taking. And that's very simple. You pick a side, I give you the spread, and you go. So for those of you listening at home, play along with us. We got some college football games, and we got some shit NFL games that I'm forcing you to pick a side because no one else is. So let's do the college first. It's first one right out the gate is the Cure Bowl. And this is the cure for everything on Saturday. because it's Liberty and Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina, they put them in a bowl game and they throw them up against Liberty. That's some bullshit. The line is 7.5. Dan, kick us off. Laying or taking Coastal Carolina?
Like I told you before we hopped on here, not crazy into the college. I watch it, don't bet it as much. I feel like Liberty won me money last year, so I'll take the points with Liberty.
Okay, Carl.
Oh man, I've been riding Coastal all year. I am laying these points. I love those guys.
Chanticleers all the way. I am laying as well. Move on. There's the rest of the game Saturday we're not even going to discuss. Tuesday has the Cheez-It Bowl and the Alamo Bowl. We ain't touching those games. We're not talking about those games. We're going right to Wednesday, December 30th, the Mayo Bowl. I hate mayonnaise. Dan, do you like mayonnaise at all?
Hoagie, I'll do mayonnaise. Outside of that, not crazy about it.
Carl, you like mayonnaise?
First of all, what the hell is a hoagie? And no, I don't like mayonnaise.
I can't stand mayonnaise. But the Mayo Bowl has Wisconsin playing Wake Forest. I don't understand the line. Wisconsin's -7. Wake Forest stinks. I don't know. I mean, the total is 53.5. I expect Wisconsin to score. I'm laying. Carl, you're next.
Yep, laying.
Dan.
Yeah, Badger's going to knock the monocle off the Deacons there. I'm laying as well.
Oh, nice reference. I like that, the monocle. All right, Music City Bowl. Who doesn't like music? It's in Nashville, Tennessee. Missouri is playing Iowa. Iowa is 14.5. 14.5. The game's line 50 as the total. Dan, laying or taking Iowa, Missouri?
I guess in a bowl game, COVID year, I'll take 15.
Okay, it's 14.5. Nice try. I was listening. Go ahead. You tried to beat me for half a point, these Philly guys. Unbelievable, Carl. Son of a bitch. What do you got, laying or taking?
Yeah, when the over-under is 50 and you got a 15-point spread, you take the points. That's a lot of points. I'll take them.
All right, I'll book you both. I'm laying. Iowa keeps Missouri to 10 points total. Cotton Bowl, a traditional bowl in Arlington, Texas. Florida is playing Oklahoma. The line is 3. I can't stand Oklahoma. The total in this thing is 72. This is the game that, here, I'll lean it up for the listeners and watchers on YouTube. This is the ceiling play. Look how good that hat looks, by the way. It looks great when you lean it like that. This game's going to score. They're going to score 100. I'm going to lay it. I think Florida finishes what they left in the game against Bama. They win. Carl, you're next.
Yep, laying.
Dan?
Yep.
Dan?
Laying as well. I'm right there with you. And on my screen, too, here, this just shows you the difference. On one of the books here in Pennsylvania, you can get Florida getting 2.5 points.
Whoa.
Wow.
We're going to have to talk.
How does that happen?
Whoa. That may be
And
in the
everywhere,
today's line.
it's only one book, too. All the other ones, -3, -2, and then 1 plus 2.5 sitting up there. Wild.
Yeah, that one, if you're listening to the show and you're in Pennsylvania, check that out.
I'm doing it now.
Yeah, there you go. That that is a play. We know some people listening to the show right now that are going, what book is that? Yes, DMs are open at GT Cash Consider, at SportsBK Consig, at Carl Hascall, and at Newbie Talks. Reach out, grab any one of us there. All right. That's going to be it for the college. You know, we'll get to more next week, where you're thinking as far as Bama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Clemson, the playoff, all that shit. We'll get to all that next week. Let's get to some shit games in the NFL, boys. Let's start with the Broncos and the Chargers. The Chargers are -3 against Denver. I'll start. How can you lay points in this shit game? I'm taking Denver and hoping they keep it within 3, and why not win the game? Carl, you're next.
Yeah, so first of all, I don't even know if Drew Lock's mother is going to watch this game. This is going to be an ugly, ugly game. The only thing Denver's really got going for them is they've had the second hardest schedule in the league this year.
Wow.
And they have the same record as the Chargers. So Denver is 5-2 against the spread on the road. Chargers are 3-4 at home against the spread. I'm taking the points here, taking Denver.
Dan? Booking us or laying with us? Or taking us?
Yeah, I'll book you because I'm actually – this is mainly just because I'm pissed off. I gave the Broncos out as when they were – I think they were getting 6 points last week. So this is just they made me lose money last week, so I'm playing against them.
The old anger play that usually that works. That's very familiar for some of our guys. Dr. Greg at Greg P1701, very familiar with the anger play. Browns -9.5 against the 1-win Jets. They're 9.5 points on the road after destroying the Giants last week. Are you kidding me? I mean, seriously. They're 9.5. The Jets getting points. I'm going to grab the points with the Jets because why not? I can't lay 9.5 with the Browns on the road. Dan, laying or taking?
Yeah, I'll lay it with the Browns. Yeah, with the Jets, they won their game last week. You know, what are they going to be playing for this week? Sure, I don't want to lay 9 points with Baker Mayfield against a team that can pass rush, but I'm going to do it. I'll lay 9.5.
Carl?
Yeah, I've been saying all along, I don't know how Cleveland has won as many games as they have. They're not good. They're not a good football team. When they get to the playoffs, there's only one team they can beat in the playoffs, and that's going to be the Steelers if they continue playing the way they're playing. They're going to be one and done.
Another shot at the Steelers.
No, that's not a shot at the Steelers. That's just stating a fact of how bad Cleveland really is.
Sounded like a fucking shot. All right, fair enough.
I'm taking the Jets.
All right. So you're taking? You're laying?
I'm taking.
All right.
I'm taking.
Fair enough. Bengals, Texans, boys. There ain't a person watching this game. Nobody at all watching this. The Texans, let me get this straight. They're 9.5-point favorites. 9.5-point favorites. I got to take this hat off for this. Are you kidding me? I don't care. That is absurd. I think the Bengals can win the game outright. Why not? They just beat the Steelers, and now you're going to tell me they're 9.5-point dogs? Seriously. Dan, are you seeing this like me or what?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. I'm definitely taking for sure in this game. I have no interest in playing on the Texans outside of I love watching Deshaun Watson play football.
He's fantastic.
That's the main thing in this game. Yeah,
guy's great. Carl, laying or taking?
Well, I just checked the line here. We've only got the one book in New Hampshire, and it's still 7.5.
Wow.
Here,
Okay.
Which is unfortunate. I think like Dan just said, I love watching him play quarterback. He is fantastic. If they had DeAndre Hopkins on this team, they probably wouldn't be a 4-win team. They're probably a 9-10 win team, and they're looking at a wild card berth. This team screwed up when they traded him away. AB could be beating up Bill O'Brien right now if they didn't make that trade. But ugly game. I'm probably going to lean toward Houston only because it's only 7.5 here.
Okay. All right, we'll use for the official line, we'll use 7.5 because that's pretty much, it seems like what it is. I had it written down from earlier. So 7.5 I'm taking, and Dan's taking, and Carl is also taking?
Laying.
All right, you're laying. There you go. Last game, laying or taking? Bears, Jacksonville. The Bears are still alive. They're actually in the hunt. I can't believe it. They're laying 7.5 points on the road. Carl, laying or taking?
Yeah, so I'm laying these. I think, Jacksonville has been able to lay in the weeds all year long because everyone's been focused on the Jets not winning a game, when the reality is Jacksonville hasn't won since week 1.
Yep.
They're terrible. They deserve the number 1 pick. They're worse than the Jets. I wish they were playing in the first round of the shit bowl here in 2 weeks because I think Jacksonville would get their asses kicked by the Jets. I'm going Chicago and laying the points.
Dan, laying or taking?
Laying it for a lot of the reasons that he laid out there too, and I think the Jaguars have solely with the Jets win, they've decided, hey, it's time to just mail it in the whole rest of the time. They are not going to be even interested in putting their helmets on for this game.
Fair enough. I don't know how anyone's going to suit up for Jacksonville and want to tackle anybody. This seems like this is the ultimate tank job. The Bears in a romp. I can't believe I'm saying it. They lay points on the road. I'll lay it. All right. Guys, set up your Take a Minute segment, and we're on the clock, so let's keep it tight for Christmas wishes. Before we do that, I want to mention that the Digital Gaming Today subscription is $185 for the year. You get award-winning content analysis, stats, picks, casino industry news, and more. You get a Dawn Best feed with real-time lines and scores from 6 Vegas sportsbooks, links to casino deals and sportsbook app signups. You even get the Gaming Today newspaper in digital form. Just go to gamingtoday.com/register. All right, Carl, you have 1 minute to talk about, say anything you want. He's at Carl Hascall. It starts in 3, 2, 1.
A lot of football today. We've teased hockey a little bit the last couple of weeks, but the schedule came out, the alignment came out. Playing teams within your division 8 times this year is going to be fantastic. We're going to get into the playoffs. You got the potential for these teams playing 15 times against each other this year when you're playing in the playoffs. We're looking at the season end, the regular season ending beginning of May. There's going to be people in the buildings. We're going to get to playoff hockey in sold-out arenas in May and June, and they're going to be again in games that they've played each other 15 times during the course of the season. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait for the puck to drop.
I can't either. We're going to talk about that. Actually, we're going to set that up. We're going to have to make a line. I got my guy Junkyard mentioning what the line's going to be head to head and all this other shit. So we got a lot to talk about now that we're in the same division. I got to worry about these Bruins and these Lightning. Oh, it's going to be ugly. All right, Dan. He's at Newbie Talks. Dan Neubert. Listen, man, great job tonight. Thanks for joining us. It's been a blast. I can't wait to listen back and text and all this stuff. Follow Dan on Twitter at Newbie Talks. You got 1 minute, brother, and you can talk about whatever it is you want, even if you're going to tell me the Steelers are going to win this week. In 3, 2, 1.
Well, I'll take the opportunity first to say thank you guys for having me on. This was terrific. Christmas definitely came early tonight. A lot of fun with you guys, and hopefully get to be back here with you soon again. I'm going to use the rest of my time just to say it has taken years off of my life watching the NFC East football play this year. I have been begging teams to put me out of my misery all year long. Nobody wants to seize this division. Nobody wants to take it. It's week 16, and you're going to have concurrent games. I would not be shocked if you see the Eagles and the Cowboys end up with a tie and somehow Washington end up with a tie, just because 2020, if you want the embodiment of 2020, look to the NFC East. I hate it. I want to go home. I'm done with it. NFC East blows. Thank you for the minute.
That's Newbie Talks. Oh, my goodness. Great stuff, man. Dan Neubert, the host of Talking Out on WEEU 8:30 a.m. and the Nads Pod, at Nads Pod. Great stuff, brother. I mean, this is only the beginning for us. That's all I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
Stay with the show. You're part of the family, and I think we got big things to come in 2021. All right, my Take a Minute segment is pretty simple, boys. It starts right now. I just want to thank everybody for all of this. You guys specifically tonight, but, Reynolds and I have been doing this now this is a year and a half. We've been cranking out episodes and getting reps and doing this stuff. I went back and listened last night to the week 2 NFL episode. It was 5 days after I had a stroke, and I was talking and telling the story. So if you go back, fast forward to the 50-minute mark and listen to the story, it's there. But the theme of it was the gratitude of having this and having each other. And, I mean, yesterday, the unfortunate passing of this guy, Ed Houdini, who wrote a song called Friends. And I thought about, and I talked about it on that episode, and I'll talk about it real quick again here. The amount of friends that we have made and had through Twitter, through the show, through the interaction, AB, Mo, Sammy P in Philly or in Chicago, soon to be Boston. He's going to be up there doing stuff on Nesson. All the fellas in the book. I made my way around to the books and saw everybody this past weekend just to say hello, give people hugs and kisses, fist bumps, all kinds of shit. It's just really, really good stuff. So on the Christmas episode, I just wanted to say thank you again to everyone for providing me a forum to do this, but for providing each other somewhere to gather and listen. I'm watching these listens grow all across the country. Across the world. We got people listening in Japan. I don't even know what they're listening for or what they're even talking about. There's people listening in Japan. So it's exciting. 2021 has a lot in store. I'm telling you guys right now, there's a lot of things happening. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to share it. But just thank you. Have a great holiday. We'll be back before New Year's at some point. We're going to coordinate our schedules and get it back together. But thanks again to everyone listening to the show. Follow the show, rate the show, review the show. Go leave a comment on YouTube. I mean, look what it did for Carl. Carl left one comment. He became the social media manager, the coordinating producer, and the goddamn co-host in 2 weeks. Leave a comment. You never know what's going to happen. That's going to do it for the show tonight, fellas. Thanks again for Newbie joining us. Carl, great job as well. Reynolds, again, you're the fucking man, the best producer in the game. Vista keeps calling. They ain't answering the phone. They keep getting it right to voicemail. It ain't happening. It can't afford you anymore. That's going to do it. It's at GT Cash Consider. Newbie's at Newbie Talks. Carl's at Carl Hascall, Hascall. Reynolds is I am Reynolds 2305. Mine is at SportsBK Consig, the Sportsbook Consigliere. That is going to do it. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to all. We are out. See you guys next week.